Hello, I'm Babita Sharma. Our top story on Impact. 17 dead and students being held hostage. Gunmen from the militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab attack a university in northeastern Kenya. Witnesses say masked attackers fired indiscriminately and there are fears there could be more casualties.
Guys started jumping up and down, running for their lives. But it's unfortunate that where they were going to is where the gunshots were coming from.
The lure of extremism, why tens of thousands of foreigners are travelling to the Middle East to join militant groups. 2 bloggers murdered in 2 months in Bangladesh. We ask, what is the government doing to stop it? That's all coming up on Impact. We start with breaking news from Kenya, where 17 people have been killed and at least 60 wounded in an attack carried out by the militant group Al-Shabaab. The gunmen struck at the heart of student life at a university in Garissa in the northeast of the country. Why? Because of the high number of non-Muslim students there. One student is reported as saying he'd heard the gunmen opening doors and asking people if they were Muslim or Christian. The area is now under lockdown this hour as security forces have surrounded the militants. We understand that around 500 students are still unaccounted for. With the latest, this report from Nick Childs.
Local emergency services rushed to respond to the deadly dawn attack on the Garissa University College compound. Masked Al-Shabaab gunmen had stormed the site, initially killing the 2 guards on the gate. This region in eastern Kenya, not far from the border with strife-torn Somalia, has been the scene of numerous terror attacks. This new onslaught on the university has come amid reports that there had been local warnings that another attack could be imminent. Relief for some as a group of students emerged from hiding. There was talk of the attackers gunning down victims without mercy. Al-Shabaab has said its men had separated Muslims from non-Muslims and allowed the Muslims to go free. But there are fears now for an unknown number of hostages, with hundreds of students still unaccounted for.
We had some gunshot and we were sleeping, so it was around 5, and guys started jumping up and down, running for their lives. But it's unfortunate that where they were going to is where the gunshots were coming from.
Meanwhile, the local hospital has been coping with scores of injured.
We are working to deploy more surgeons just to beef up the medical operation that's ongoing. I think we wouldn't want to be caught off guard, and so we'd rather have as much of the medical team on the ground so that they can deal with any eventualities as and when they occur.
Watchfully, anxiously, the police lay in wait as the standoff continued. Gunfire and explosions were heard at the campus. The police talked of a fierce exchange with the gunmen. Al-Shabaab, which is linked to Al-Qaeda, was behind the devastating storming of the Westgate shopping centre in Nairobi in 2013, which spread panic and left 67 dead. It's targeted Kenya after Kenyan troops were sent into Somalia to help fight the group there. And the fallout from this new attack will reach far beyond the shocked community of Garissa. Nick Childs, BBC News.
Well, with me in the studio is BBC World Service Africa editor Mary Harper. Mary, you got a phone call telling you that Al-Shabaab had claimed responsibility for this attack.
Yes, Al-Shabaab phoned me up a few hours ago and they said that they had staged this attack on the university in Garissa because Kenya was at war with Somalia. In 2011, Kenyan troops went into Somalia to try to clear the border area of Al-Shabaab. But in fact, what seems to have happened is that Al-Shabaab has increasingly crossed over into Kenya to stage attacks on Kenyan soil ever since then.
Not uncommon for them to phone you to claim responsibility for an attack like this, being the BBC and the media organisations that they know will be hitting the headlines with the news.
Yes, Al-Shabaab is tremendously effective at its media operations. It issues very sophisticated propaganda videos, almost like Hollywood movies, some of them, and it also, I suppose, it knows who to call in each relevant media organisation, and it usually does that before the Kenyan officials do, so it's kind of ahead of the game in terms of information as well, almost as it is in terms of violence.
Yeah, power control. They have, from what we understand, separated groups of students that are in this university campus Muslims from non-Muslims. This is a tactic, is it not, that has been used by Al-Shabaab before?
Yes, it has increasingly done this in Kenya when it stops minibuses or when it goes into towns and villages, or in this case the university. This official described to me how they went and they gathered all the students together and then started singling out the Muslims by getting people to recite pieces of the Quran, and then they set the Muslim students free. And Al-Shabaab says that that is how the Kenyan security forces came to know that something was going on, was when the students fled and alerted them to what had happened.
Kenya is very well aware of the threat of Al-Shabaab on its doorstep. Just talk us through how you think this is going to play out in terms of their handling of this. We know that the security forces are currently there, but they are well prepared to deal with such terrorist attacks.
Kenyan security forces often come under criticism for not being that well prepared. For example, just the day before this attack was staged, there were warnings put in universities about possible attacks by militants. And for example, when there was the big Al-Shabaab siege of the Westgate shopping mall, the Kenyan security forces were blamed for not handling that as well as they could do. It's interesting that the Kenyan president has come out with a statement today saying Kenya has suffered from the lack of the number of security forces that it has, and he's asked for 10,000 new recruits to report for police training immediately.
Yeah, we understand that the president has made a statement. We're going to be bringing that to you live with the latest updates. But for now, Mary, thank you very much for that. Mary Harper there, our World Service Africa editor, on that breaking news that we understand that 17 people now have been killed in this attack by Al-Shabaab militants on a university in the area of Garissa in the northeast of Kenya. Keep up to date with this developing story online, of course. Detailed analysis, reporting feed with the latest on the attack and updates for you. Click on the link, bbc.com/news.